It's the Daily Dog.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. I am thankful that you are joining me today as we conclude another fantastic week of episodes here at the Daily Doug. It is a Friday and you are joining me for one of my most favorite times of the week. It is a Masterpiece Friday. So today, on this longer edition of the Daily Doug, we are going to be diving into music by The Who for the very first time on the channel. We are going to be looking at Who's Next, the entire first side of their landmark 1971 album. And I am excited about it. After they wrote and recorded Tommy, in 1969, Pete Townsend was working on a science fiction rock opera that he was calling Lifehouse. And that project ended up getting scrapped, but several of the songs that Pete was working on survived and made it into this album, Who's Next? But without the underlying rock opera or science fiction element. The songs just kind of popped in. Unfortunately, I have neglected The Who for much of my life. I was only 5 or 6 years old, my friends, when The Who stopped touring in the early 80s. So I never really had any real exposure to their music from my friends, from my family, that sort of thing. I, of course, knew of The Who and heard some of their stuff, but I'd never really taken the opportunity to dive into their discography. In fact, I can remember exactly when my eyes were opened to who The Who actually were. And it was in 2001, just a month or two after the 9/11 attacks. There was a big concert in New York. In fact, I think it was called The Concert for New York. And tons of musicians were there and they filled Madison Square Garden in New York City. And The Who had just started, I think, touring again as a band, and they made this epic inclusion or entrance onto this stage, and it was John Cusack that famously introduced them. And I wanted to go back to that and relive it a bit. So this is the opening of that concert for New York when John Cusack introduced The Who. Check this out.
So, what are the five of us doing here? Well, the next act is so big and so legendary, it takes all of these heroes to introduce one of the greatest bands in the world. A band that loves New York, and a band loved by
ready
New York.
to just
From England, you ready?
celebrate something. And these guys come out, and John Cusack is all excited about it. And if John Cusack is excited about something, you pay attention, right? And then they come out, and I'm like, I've heard this, but I've never actually seen them do their thing. And then Pete gets ready, he's into it. It's just awesome, right? So that was like when I first went, really? I need to check these guys out. So in fact, the following year, in August of 2002, Megan and I had tickets to see The Who at Madison Square Garden on our first wedding anniversary, and we didn't get to go. We ended up having to move away we were moving from New Jersey to Kansas City, and we needed to be out of our lease by the end of July, and the concert was on August 4th in New York, and we just didn't have the funds to stick around and squat at somebody's house and make our way to New York before we moved. So we ended up gifting the tickets to some of our friends, and they quite enjoyed it. But yeah, so I never got to see the band live. But what you are here for, y'all, is the first side of Who's Next. I've got all 5 of these songs lined up. We're going to go right through in order. I am using the remastered version of this that I believe came out in the 90s. So let's dive in. We're going to start with their classic tune, Baba O'Reilly. Here we go. Such an iconic opening, right? These synthesizers. I haven't completely been hiding under a rock, so I have heard this several times. It's such an interesting way to open a song, much less an album, right? It's Tito, right? In F. Piano comes in. Then it's just 1, 5, 4, 1. And the rhythm of the synthesizer just keeps morphing ever so slightly. Always gives you something interesting to listen to. Absolutely powerful. Great vocal. Just makes you want to bop your head along to it, doesn't it? I read that. Yeah, so now they get to the 5, which is the C chord. Don't cry, don't raise your eye, it's only teenage wasteland. Sally, take my hand. Woo. Enjoying myself. I read that Pete Townsend said that the famous line, Teenage Wasteland, was inspired by all of the trash that was left over after they played the Isle of Wight Festival in 1969. Just covered with trash and stuff. And it's like, they're like, look at this Teenage Wasteland. Basic song harmonically. There's no tricks to it. They're in 4/4 the whole time, and they're just using basic rock chords. Man, is it cool. They're all wasted. One, flat 7, E flat. To the 5, that's a C, down to 4, B flat, 1, flat 7 just opens everything up. On the violin is Dave Arbus from the prog band East of Eden. They were working in the same studio at the time, and he was invited to come play violin for this ending section. And they're done. way to start, right? Such a fantastic, iconic song. Even I have heard that one and know it pretty well. But what I learned today was actually where the name of the song comes from. Baba O'Reilly. The song is not called Teenage Wasteland, which is how I referred to it for forever. But Baba O'Reilly, so Baba comes from Meher Baba, who was an Indian spiritual leader of the era. And the Riley comes from minimalist composer Terry Riley, who was active during that time. So Meher Baba supplies the philosophical inspiration, and Terry Riley, with his minimalism and use of synthesizers, provides the musical inspiration. And, you know, at the end, we're like, we're all wasted, right? We're like, yeah, wasted. You know, that's not what they're talking about. It's a call to live in the present and not to squander opportunities and life experiences that come your way. It's a warning of sorts to, you know, live your life with vigor, not wasted, right? So really, really interesting and classic tune. We're going to move on to the second track, which is called Bargain, and it goes like this. I'm only vaguely familiar with this song. The big line in the chorus, the best I ever had, is what I remember, but I don't really remember the rest of the tune. B flat. I'd pay any price just to get to you. I'd work all my life and I will to win you. I'd stand naked, stoned, and stabbed. And I'd call that a bargain. It's a heck of a statement. Iconic vocal. Should play a drinking game every time I say iconic in this. We'd all be wasted. But it just is. Major 4. Yeah, then that major 4 sets up that high B flat we can go back to and in that vocal up on that high range.
I sit looking round, I look at my face in the mirror. I know I'm worth nothing without you. And like 1 and 1 don't make 2, 1 and 1 make 1.
The bass.
And I'm looking for
Great playing.
that free ride to me. I'm looking for you.
I read that Pete wrote this as sort of an ode to Meher Baba, who we talked about in the previous song, this spiritualist from India who had died in 1969. As I read, Baba's message of enlightenment and spirituality was a big influence to Pete.
I gladly lose me to find you. Gladly give up all I got to catch you.
Proud to give up all I got. I gladly lose me to find you. I gladly give up all I got to catch you. I'm going to run and never stop. I pay any price just to win you. Surrender my life for my good life for bad. When I first read through the lyrics,
the best I ever had.
standing up on that floor.
The best I ever had.
There it goes. When I first read through these lyrics, I assumed it was a love song from a person, a man, to the person that he loves. But as I read in, it is a love song. But it's more about giving up your material goods to usher in this spiritual enlightenment. And that exchange itself is the bargain that they're talking about. It's a statement of love for spiritual grounding, prioritizing that over earthly possessions or the temptations that earthly possessions bring us. And I'm just noticing this. Did those guys urinate on that column for the album cover? Wonder what the meaning behind that is, if there is any. Maybe it's just four guys that needed to take a pee break before the photo shoot continued. It's a cool song, isn't it? It's really cool. Yeah, I've heard that one before, but man, I don't know if I've ever really paid attention to listening to it. This one, I am pretty sure I have not heard. This one's called Love Ain't for Keeping, and it goes like this. Here we go. Still basic chords, y'all. Lay down beside me, love ain't for keeping. It's this extended plagal cadence, flat 7 to 4. And then 4 to 1, descending fourths. And flat 7, flat 3 to flat 7 to 1. Cool. A plagal resolution to flat 7, and then that goes up to the A. C to G. Love Entwistle's bass playing. It's not flashy, but it's so right, isn't it?
Lay down, my darling. Love ain't for keeping.
Cool. It's too long of a song, or it's too short of a song. It should be longer. I liked it. I really did. Laying on my back in the newly mown grass, rain is coming down, but I know the clouds will pass. You bring me tea, say, the babe's asleep, and lay down beside me, love ain't for keeping. The message to me of this song is simply carpe diem, seize the day. Not to take for granted our relationships and opportunities to revel in these beautiful and loving moments that come to us, to realize that life ain't fleeting. Love ain't for keeping means to me, don't keep your thoughts and feelings to yourself. If you feel something, and if it's a lovely moment, don't keep it hidden. Tell people, communicate, reinforce the good feeling, and make it a memory, you know? It's a really lovely, lovely lyric. Yeah, but I know the clouds will pass. Rain is coming down, but I know the clouds will pass. So whatever, they know that this is temporary, and they're trying to pay attention to it while it's there. Wonderful stuff. I'm going to move on. The next song is the only song, I think, on the album that was written by John Entwistle, the bass player. It is called My Wife, and it goes a little something like this. Here we go. My life's in jeopardy. Oh shit, his wife's coming after him. Wow. Gonna buy a gun so I can look after number one. Give me a bodyguard. She thinks I've been with another woman, and that's enough to send her half insane. He's getting out of here. I may end up spending all my money, but I'd still be alive. Aha. Got picked up by the law, and now I ain't got time to think. I read that John provided the brass playing for this as well. Cool. Just hanging out on that B major chord, which is not the easiest of keys for brass players to play in. It's a lot of sharps. Back to the 5, the F sharp. I'm so tired of running, gonna lay down on the floor. So I gotta rest sometimes so I can run to get some more. I love the sense of humor in this. I'm curious. I'm sure it's based on real life happenings. Just not sure how real to life. She's coming, y'all. She ain't happy. Cool. Never heard that. Never heard that before. Okay, y'all, we got one more song on this side of the album, on side 1. It is called The Song Is Over, and it already started, so sorry about that. Off we go.
song is over. It's all behind me.
There's a vulnerability in his
I should have
vocal
known
color
it.
too. It's a really neat thing when they switch back
Tried
and
to
forth
find me.
of who's doing the lead singing. The song is over, it's all behind me, I should have known it. She tried to find me.
Our love is over.
So the song is over, and now our love is over.
They're all ahead now.
They are all ahead now.
I've got to learn it.
Who are they?
I'm gonna sing out.
I've got to learn it, I've got to sing, I am going to sing out.
I'll sing my song to the wide open spaces. I'll sing my heart out to the infinite sea. I'll sing my
Up a whole step.
to the sky mountains. I'll sing my song to the free. To the free.
Keith's ripping it up too, by the way.
I'll sing my song to the wide open spaces.
Up a half step from where they were. That's a whole step. Where are they now? Back to the original 5 chord, I think.
To the free.
Another whole step. Boy, this is a rather optimistic song. The way that it sounds, based on the words that are there.
When I walked in through the door, thought it was me I was looking for. She was the first song I ever sang, but it stopped as soon as it began.
She was the first song I ever sang, but it stopped as soon as it began. Back to the beginning riff.
Our love is over. It's all behind me.
That's an F on the bottom.
They're all ahead now. Can't hope to find me.
I'll sing my song to the
I think it's functioning more as the 5 chord though than the 1 chord. It sounds like it's not tonic, it sounds like it's the dominant. There it goes up. If I step to G, to C.
to the free. To the free. I'll sing my song
Yeah!
to the
That's what they did before. The C goes up to half to C sharp.
sing my heart out to the infinite sea. I'll sing my visions
Up
to
another
the sky
step.
mountains. I'll sing my song to the breeze.
It's encouraging, right?
To the free.
Listen to the drums there through this section though, y'all. Listen to the synthesizers. That's messing with my ear. That's interesting. I would love to be the piano player on this song, by the way. Fun little part. Just chording along. My favorite things to do.
The song is over. I'm left with only tears. I must remember, even if it takes a million
Must remember, even if it takes a million years for me to finally remember.
The song is over.
accepting one note pure and easy. Is that referring to the sci-fi stuff that he was interested in before? Because I think I read that this was originally slated to be the last song of that sci-fi rock opera. And the synthesizers here remind me of the beginning with Baba O'Reilly. Listen to that. Cool. Huh. What a fun side of a record that was. Just like Grandma's Porridge, y'all. It was right down the middle. I wouldn't call them a prog group. We've listened to a lot of prog, but we've listened to a lot of rock and roll. And that's what these guys are to me. They're just a straight ahead rock and roll band, and a historically good one at that. When you've got a guy that can sing like Roger, and I mean all of the band with their points of view, and Pete's writing is really, really interesting. These lyrics. On the surface, when I look at this song, The Song Is Over, it's a song about loss. The song is over, it's all behind me, I should have known it, she tried to find me, our love is over, they're all ahead now, I've got to learn it, I'm gonna sing out. It's the end of a relationship. Maybe a death, something that you have to, move on from. But he then turns and says, I'll sing my song to the wide open spaces, my heart out to the infinite sea, my visions to the sky high mountains, my song to the free, my song to the wide open. He's stating or reasserting his intent to spread the word, to share what he's learned from the experience, to commit to being a better person. I'm not sure. But yeah, on the surface, it seems like it's just about the end of a relationship. But I think it's more philosophical than that. And I do think that it has, like, what is the line, they're all ahead now? Who are they, and why is he lagging behind, is what I want to know. Or what's the context for that? I'm not quite sure, but that's intriguing. What a fun little song that was. And Keith on the drums, I had a fun time air drumming to that one as well. Whew. Wow, what a Masterpiece Friday, y'all. This has been a lot of fun. And rest assured, we will get to side 2 in not too long. So stay tuned. Probably not next week, but within the next few weeks, we'll get back to side 2 and finish up this landmark album that I have never listened to front to back. Who's Next by The Who, their 5th studio album released all the way back in 1971. Thank you all for hanging out with me today and all this week. We got more great episodes coming up for you next week, and I will see you next time on another edition of The Daily Doug.